Hello everyone, my name is Emblem. Welcome back to Unguided in RuneScape 3. Today we're going to be looking at what I've been up to in the month of June. This was supposed to be just the first half of June, but by the time I got to finishing up my editing, I realized I was pretty close to the end of the month and figured I'd just combine the two together. But in any case, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, we have a brand new month, so let's go ahead and get our monthly tasks done. So that would be our god statues. I focused just on the prayer XP this time. The troll invasion. And the oyster. But it doesn't look like we got too much of note this time. Better luck next month. In addition, I finally went and checked out May's Caravan and got our first lucky die for Crest Rewards. Gives us a bunch of cash and a free treasure trail item. So we definitely shouldn't have any money problems for a while. With those out of the way, it's now time to pick back up on our questing grind. And I figured we'd start with some more beginner quests and started the Wolf Whistle. Pickup 6 is looking for his lost apprentices, who just so happen to have had one fall down a well. It also contains a bunch of trolls for some reason, so we need to go rescue him. In order to do that, we need a Wolpertinger. So we gotta look and pick up Styx's dirty old sock drawer, get a few other ingredients, then we can finally scare off the trolls and save them. Which completes our quest in a mere 12 minutes 48 seconds. Next on the shopping block was the Druidic Ritual quest, which just had us pick up a few ingredients nearby and turn them into a special potion, and we turned that potion in to complete it in a mere 7 minutes 11 seconds. I then turned my attention to the Dwarf Cannon quest. At least I don't have a single HP, because that definitely would have killed me. The rest isn't nearly as hard, but I could not for the life of me remember where the child was, so I had to go back and forth from the Goblin Cave a few times. However, in the end, I remembered something about the crates, maybe, and decided to go ahead and check them out, and lo and behold, there's the child. After that is just a simple minigame to fix the cannon, and picking up the Emma mold from the Dwarven Outpost. And with that, we got a quest complete in 20 minutes and 17 seconds. Continuing the trend on simple quests that unlock a lot later on, it was time for Jungle Potion. This one just has you collecting a bunch of herbs. The only one that gave me a lot of trouble was the Cito foil, because it mentioned living flames. So I got in my head to go check the Czar area. Definitely wasn't there, so I wandered around for a little bit on that one. However, in the end, we managed to find it and the other herbs pretty quickly, and we managed to finish the quest in 12 minutes 37 seconds. Next on the simple quest train was the Vampire Slayer quest. So head on over to Draenor, head to Varrock and speak to the old Vampire Slayer, then kill the vampire, and we get our quest complete in just 7 minutes 32 seconds. With that spooky quest out of the way, I decided to go ahead and check out another one, and that led me to the Broken Home quest. This has really good rewards, and it's a bit of a maze inside. I've done it a few times on my main account just because the ring you get from doing the challenges is so good, but it's been a while, so I was going in mostly blind. Our first goal is, of course, to gather all of the statue eyes. So we get the one from the clock. We get 2 more from a book stacking puzzle. That's pretty easy. We get another one from this pushing puzzle with a bunch of suits of armor. The next one from the dead hands of a servant. And then there's one in the actual statue room itself. We then continue exploring using the various different keys that we find throughout the mansion. And eventually get a piano key, which opens up a secret room that tries to kill us as we get another eye from a skeleton in the corner. We eventually make our way into the basement, where we have to dodge some flying knives, along with making some acid to dissolve a barrier on one of the doors. Following the trail, we finally find our final eye on the body of a dead thief, which allows us to access the coffin of the dead mother and get her hairbrush, which we can then return to her child. who then gets eaten, and we are now being chased by a giant monstrous creature, which I immediately die to. We find another entrance back into the basement, and I get lost here for a little bit, not remembering that there is another door down here that I haven't checked yet. We find our way eventually, though, and make our way down into the depths to what appears to be an old jail. We eventually find the final key we need, which will give us the final scrap of a spell to break the curse, which we promptly do, and finally finish our quest in a whopping 1 hour and 47 seconds. We then go back and do it all over again, because there are 3 challenges that you need to do in order to unlock a tier 85 ring that is extremely good once you can actually equip it. Those challenges are eat no more than 1 piece of food, don't die, and finish the entire quest in 37 minutes. We go through as quickly as can since we just went through it all, and we managed to finish in 28 minutes and 7 seconds with no deaths and only using 1 piece of food. After that whole ordeal, I decided to go with something a little bit simpler, and I noticed on my way to Broken Home a quest that is a Soul's Bane, which I remember doing once, and I was pretty sure it was a simple quest. And it wasn't too bad. Mostly just a bunch of gimmick fights. The first one being a bunch of rage creatures, which you can only defeat with the proper rage weapon. Next was Fear, where you had to look down dark holes, and when something jump scared you, you would kill it. After that is Confusion, where after going through a door, one of the creatures is real, and you have to figure out which one and destroy it before entering the door and kind of repeating the cycle. Confusion used up a lot of food for me, so I went back and restocked before moving on to Hopeless, which is just a creature that you have to kill 3 times before it actually stays dead. Finally, we come to our corrupted child, who we have to defeat in order to free him. After freeing him, we finish up our quest, and it took us 29 minutes and 11 seconds. With all the hopelessness and despair out of the way, I decided, let's get a companion to keep us company, and start with Gertrude's cat quest. We go discuss business with Willow and Shillop, and find out where the cat is. Takes me a little bit to find her, but not too long to figure out which building it is. And once we go save her kittens, we return her to Gertrude, and complete the quest in just 6 minutes 43 seconds. While in the area, I noticed that the Jagex was hosting a Pride event, which I decided to go ahead and start, and began looking through the various areas for all of the Pride people. I won't show you all that, just know that I eventually found them all, and most of the love stories in the area. While I was looking around for them, though, I did find a crashed star, and attempted to mine it. However, I was a little bit too slow by myself, and unfortunately it disappeared before it was finished. With the event out of the way, I decided to go ahead and do more questing, and I decided I wanted to do the Cook's Assistant quest, which meant killing some goblins for a chef's hat, and then heading over to do the quest itself. This quest is about spreading the joy of cheesecake throughout Galenor. So our first stop is to another pair of cooks to make some cream cheese. We then head back to the head chef in order to make biscuits, which I end up burning. We get it on the second try though. After making the cheesecake, we take it around to all the other chefs so they can taste its deliciousness once more, and report back to finish our quest in 15 minutes and 47 seconds. Next, since I didn't want to do the Gnome Agility course all the way to 30, I decided I'd do a quest that gives agility experience as a reward, and decided to go with the Tourist Trap. So we get the quest started, follow the footprints, find and fight one of the guards so we can get inside, trade our clothes with one of the slaves to easily blend in, trade a dart prototype for a pineapple so we can get deeper inside the mines, find Anna and stuff her in a barrel, lose track of where she is before finally realizing you need to search a barrel to actually grab her and then send her up, talk to the cart owner so he'll actually drive out of there, and finish the quest. all over the course of 39 minutes and 32 seconds, and jumping us up to 31 agility. Next quest on the docket is the Giant Dwarf. This one does require telekinetic grabs, so I went to the Mage Bank, got some law runes, then proceeded to Kettle Grim to start the quest. We're tasked with helping to rebuild the large dwarven statue of the old kings, and so to do that, we have to steal back some replica boots, have our old friend Thurgo repair the ancient axe, and have the seamstress help us make time-appropriate clothing. With those out of the way, all that's left is the head, and all of the people in charge are arguing over whose head it has to be. We're told to go find out, but nobody will talk to us without being part of one of their guilds. With that being the case, I head to the Green Gemstones and ask what I can do to join, and they give me various different tasks until finally I can join the meeting and recommend their chairman to be the head. Bringing our quest to an end after 38 minutes and 59 seconds. Looking through our quest lists, I decided to go for another easy one, and that brings us to bringing home the bacon. Our first task for this quest is to take care of a bunch of bacon zombies, then to gather a little piglet by talking to Martin the Master Gardener and solving his little thieving problem. We then take it to an underground bunker where we train it and fatten it up. We then take it around towns to show everyone the wonder of pigs. And just like that, we have quest complete in 33 minutes and 43 seconds. In addition, this unlocks a very important farming level, as it gives us access to Manor Farm. Finally, I immediately head over there and begin raising our rabbits. The only unfortunate part is going to be food. Thankfully, rabbits can eat fruit, which is one of the ones that I think is the easiest to obtain, or at least the cheapest. My secret to them is the Karamja Island. There's 5 pineapple plants within easy reach of the lodestone, with 5 pineapples each, so an easy 25 pineapples. And if you do the Karamja Easy Diary, you can claim 40 free pineapples a day, so I made sure to get that done pretty quickly. And something I didn't learn yet, but learned in the future, is that you can go to Catherby and purchase 40 pineapples for 2 gold coins each every day as well. However, to start, we need quite a few pineapples, so I spent several hours hopping between worlds to get new spawns and filling up our pineapples in the farm. Before moving on to our next quest, which was Monk's Friend. All you need to do is find the hidden ladder to lead you down to a thieves' bunker to grab a kid's blanket, then go check on a monk who got lost, and return back to finish the quest in 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Our shortest quest to date. Since we're in the area, I decided to grab some fish and go do the fight arena quest as well. Shouldn't take too long at all. All we have to do is search the whole area over the course of 5 minutes to finally find the spare armor that we need, bribe the head guard with some booze so we can sneak in, fight through some waves of creatures before getting caught and having to fight a hellhound, and then make our escape and complete the quest in 17 minutes and 16 seconds. With those quests out of the way, decided to work on my thieving a little bit and unlock the From Tiny Acorns mini quest. During this, you just steal a gemstone dragon the guild commissioned from a craftsman and get back your money and then turn it all back into the guild. All super simple and done in about 5 minutes 53 seconds. With that little thing out of the way, it was time for our next major conquest and unlocking the city of Sulfadem by doing Ithlorin's Little Helper. After starting the quest, we immediately wake up in an unfamiliar town with no idea what just happened. However, touching on the door starts to give us some fuzzy memories as we recognize that we weren't in control ourselves for a while. After exploring the tomb from our fuzzy memories, we wake up and speak to the nearby Sphinx using our Gitten's Hope to find out what is truly going on and figure out what to do next. She tells us to head to the head priest, who informs us that due to our actions, everyone has been cursed, and now we have to fix it. Our first step is to return the canopic jar that we stole, and then obtain some embalming materials so they can perform a ceremony over the body. We then navigate through the tomb for the 3rd time, and hope the ritual proceed, only for it to be interrupted, and we have to fight off our little intruder. With that, we have begun to make amends, and we finished our quest after 32 minutes and 2 seconds. The next day, I had my first daily challenge for Dungeoneering, so I decided let's go ahead and actually get that started. Made my way to Damonheim, and began working through the various levels and floors that I could, at least until I unlocked complexity 6, and worked up my range level just a little bit. I quite enjoy Dungeoneering, as it's a useful conglomeration of all the other skills. However, it can start to feel a little boring, as it's all very similar, and can be a bit frustrating when you're not max level, as there's tons of doors that you just can't go through. After that, I got pretty busy for a while, and was only able to do the daily quests as some personal matters came up. However, during that time, I did get a little lucky with my Manor Farm and unlocked the jackalope, so I now had all of the rabbits created and moved on to chickens. Once I got back into the game, I only had a few days left in the month, and I decided I wanted to do a few more quests. So the first one that I went to was Demon Slayer. They changed it a lot from the original version, and this one's pretty quick. All you have to do is go take the trials of a few ghosts downstairs in the basement of the church, grab the sword Silverlight, and then go and fight the cultists and the demon. And after that was done, we had our quest complete in 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Next on my list was a quest to unlock a lodestone that had been bothering me for a little bit, which was the Ashdale with the Shadow over Ashdale quest. Something seems to be happening with the city, and we're told to go explore it, but nobody appears to be there. We continue going through until we meet a woman hiding in a house who lets us know that something terrible has happened, and there is a passage back behind her house to lead deeper into the city. While exploring the sewers, we're attacked by this strange crab-like aberration, and continue on our way until we reach the lighthouse on the opposite side. Once there, we find a secret mechanism that opens up a basement, and climb down into it to continue on our path. Underneath, we find a strange series of tunnels, and a little bit of a water barrel puzzle to unlock the mechanism to open the door forward. And as we continue on to see more and more of these strange crab creatures, and some are even acting as sentries that we have to Metal Gear across. After following the path as far as we can, we eventually see a bunch of people trapped in some sort of ooze. But as we try and reach them, a bunch of tentacles pop out of the water and attempt to kill us. After destroying them, though, we're faced with our first true boss of RuneScape 3. Agroth, the Sea Abomination. I barely know this boss. I did it on my main account, and I know you can do it weekly, but I pretty much never do. I know some of his mechanics. I know that his water sprays out on one side, and you have to go to the other side to dodge it. Looks like he does melee attacks with his claws when you're close by, which just do typeless damage, but I was using melee for this, so I just stuck with it. Probably could have dodged that Knockwood's claw attack, but I did not. And he will shoot out acid showers that you have to dodge from the ceiling. And if you do stand in the back instead of the claws, you get tentacles that will slam out onto you. Thankfully, he is a pretty easy boss, because I didn't bring any good food. I mainly just used all the minnows that the crab people were dropping. In the end, though, we are victorious, and have saved the people of Ashdale. All in all, a pretty fun quest, and we got it done in 20 minutes and 18 seconds. Next on the list was finally unlocking the city of Xanaris and the fairies. Took me a few attempts to find the correct dialogue option to actually start the quest, but once we got started, it then took us a while to find the correct tree, because I forgot to check the ones right next to me. We get to it eventually, though, and find our little leprechaun, who tells us about the special wood we need from the city of Intrana, at least from beneath it. So we make a few preparations for heading on our way. Intrana doesn't allow any weapons or armor to be brought onto the island, but I brought some spider silk with me, along with some air runes, and hoped that would be enough to get through any any of our troubles. Thankfully, we just have to worry about the guardian of the tree itself. I was a little bit worried about how much damage I would do and my accuracy, but then I realized that I might be able to trap it on these mushrooms, and it actually worked out that I was able to safe spot it instead. After defeating it, we grabbed several branches in case we need them for things in the future, and so we don't have to come back here, before returning to the swamp and entering this special little shack to complete our quest in just 12 minutes and 38 seconds. Before we move on to the final quest that I did, I want to give a quick shout out to William Adams 5471, who reminded me of the museum task down here in the basement, where you answer some questions and get some free Slayer and Hunter experience. While I'm not looking at the wiki, if you guys see me struggling on something, or have any things that I may have forgotten, feel free to just let me know in the comments down below, and I'm more than happy to take a look at those. Now, let's talk about what was the last and probably most difficult quest of the month. Fairy Tale Part 1, Growing Pains. Marvin the Master Farmer has noticed that crop production is pretty low and wants us to talk to all the other farmers, see if we can figure out what might be going on. We go place to place, asking various different farmers that we can find, what they think might be the issue, until finally we arrive on the conclusion that it might just be fairies. So we head back to Marvin, and he says that's actually a great idea, let's go ask the fairies. Which, now that we've done the Lost City, we can now clearly go do. Instead of the Fairy Queen, we find instead the Fairy Godfather, who is definitely not a mob boss, despite the way he speaks, and tells us that the Fairy Queen has had an accident, and see if we could maybe help her in some way. So we head on over to Fairy Nuff, and begin talking to her about the conditions that she is suffering. We are then told to go see a dark wizard to understand if he might know what is causing her affliction. He informs us about the Tanglefoot possibility, and that there is actually someone who has defeated one before, named Malignius Mortifer. And if we want to know more about defeating the one that hurt the Fairy Queen, then we should talk to him. We head on over to Malignius, and he does agree to help us out, and tells us that in order to destroy the Tanglefoot, we need magic cicadas. But in order to create those, we need 3 special items: an uncut diamond, a raw cave eel, and edible seaweed. The uncut diamond is no big deal because we do have one sitting in the bank from something. I don't remember exactly where we got it, but it's there. The raw cave eel also isn't too bad. You can look in the fishing guide and see them in there, that they are in the Lumbridge Swamp. So after grabbing a candle and lighting it up, we head down into the depths and quickly fish up one for ourselves. However, the one that gave me the most issue is edible seaweed. Now, I don't know about you all, but I did not know exactly where to find edible seaweed. Had a few ideas and decided to test them out, but to start with, I had no real clue. My first idea was big net fishing. So I went over to Catherby and started doing some big net fishing, because I know you can get seaweed through that, so I thought there was a chance I could also get edible seaweed. However, after about half an hour of no luck, there was a nagging feeling in the back of my brain of a faint memory of it having something to do with rock crabs, perhaps. So, having no other choices, I decided to go try and kill them for a little bit. However, they were proving to be quite a challenge and taking a while to kill. I was also almost done for the day, so I decided to pack it up and try again the next day. I quickly took care of my daily tasks, and being uncertain if I was on the right track either way, decided to do a bit more big net fishing, see if it would eventually pop up. After spending about another half hour over at big net fishing, with no luck, I returned to rock crabs, gave them another try, and did that for quite some time before I nearly died to some, and decided to go around and check out some more shops, including those at the Gnome Stronghold, because I know they have some interesting materials there, but still no luck in either front. I then returned to do more big net fishing, but our luck just wasn't in our side, and our edible seaweed was still far out of reach. I even went to Karamja at one point just to see if there was maybe a special location where it was just sitting on the ground somewhere. However, after spending an entire day and a half on this, I decided it was time to start asking the community. So I went to the beach event that was currently going on in an attempt to ask other players if they knew where edible seaweed was. Unfortunately for me, it seems most people either aren't in the community spirit or were just bots. So I got no answers either that time I asked, or the next, or any time I asked, really. I wasn't about to give up yet, though, and I knew I could always just release the video, and hopefully you guys would have been able to tell me. However, we got a good ending to this story. I decided to check out a few other ideas I had. The first one was fishing trawler, only to realize, oh wait, Iron Man can't do that. But I know it has a lot of free fishing items, so I thought edible seaweed might be one of them. Next was Mogers. I went ahead and helped Skippy with his little hangover, and then went to the Mud Skipper Point and decided to fight Mogers because I know they have the weird drop table and thought maybe edible seaweed would be one of them. They were a lot more doable than rock crabs, as they could hit pretty hard but weren't that accurate and went down much quicker. But alas, there was still no luck on getting the seaweed. Which brings us to the last day of the month. I decided to go ahead and kill some more rock crabs. The Mogers were fine, but these are okay as well. And I will just want another change of pace. And that's when this happened. Edible seaweed! Oh, I was right, it is rock crabs. I just got super unlucky. That's right, we finally got it from rock crabs of any source. I then made my way through the swamps of Mauritania, making sure the gas couldn't turn my edible seaweed into mush. That would have really sucked if I hadn't thought about that. And we finally got our enchanted cicadas. We immediately went to the Tanglefoot to very quickly take it down, and returned the Queen cicadas to the Fairy Godfather. All over the course of 4 days. I went back to the rock crabs just for a little bit to even out my melee stats, since they were almost there anyway. And that was the end of our month. Whew, quite a journey. Here's our stats at the end of the month, which is looking pretty good. There's a few low ones there. Mainly ranged and divination. So we'll need to work on those at some point. I do apologize how long this one took to get out. I got sick once again at the beginning of the month as I was working on getting this together, but hopefully it wasn't delayed as badly this time for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of any quests you might want to see a full video on, or anything else you'd like about what we're doing here. Thank you all once again very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.